All right, so we can go and try to connect to Facebook as well. Like to do kill two birds with one stone. All right, hey guys, thank you for allowing me to bring you into my life again. A little live video here, a little live update. Tomorrow I will begin work. I'm actually going to have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I know, crazy, right? So I could go into the gym. My gym opens up at 5. I want to get it out of the way. I've never been much of a working out person after work. I mean, after you have an 8 hour day and you're tired, who's got the energy to go lift any weight? So I'm going to do this. Hey, Leslie, how are you? Great to see you. I'm going to try doing this first thing in the morning, up at 4, so I could make my bed and do all the stuff that I got to do before heading to the gym. And I start off. I start what's called orientation tomorrow at 8 in the morning. So I want to get all that stuff out of the way. And yeah, so that's. I'm excited and nervous at the same time. It's always awkward. Start a new job. You got to get to know the things that you got to get to know, and they always try to give you all this information all at once, and you're like taking all this stuff in, and then you got to like get used to people's different personalities. You know, one of the things that I mean, I know with me, and I'm sure a lot of trans people out there could relate. We've got these really quirky personalities. I believe that's part of our neurological impairment. Hey Becky, how you doing? I'm trying to go back and forth between YouTube and this, so bear with me if I don't catch all the comments. But thank you, Leslie. Yes, thank you so much. I'm really happy. Um, we have this little quirky personality, that part of our neurological impairment. Some of us have full blown Asperger's, and so socialization is kind of a little awkward. Although I've learned to socialize and I've taught myself more so than the average trans person. And if you're trans, I'm not trying to like diss you or judge you. I mean, this is something that we go through, and we've got to be truthful in these things that we actually go through because you know if we're not truthful with ourselves, and others, how can we expect to really, grow and learn? And people are always taking things as, you know, a judgment or an attack, and it's not an attack. It's just learning and realizing certain things about ourselves that once we could learn these things and become aware, we could try to maybe fix them or maybe adjust. So, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm a little bit, nervous about is personalities trying to create the patterns in my mind to deal with the different types of personalities, and especially in a very anxious type environment. When people are at work and they're under deadlines or they have to do certain things, they become stressed out, and sometimes it doesn't bring out the best of the people. But I know that I'll learn the patterns because as a Asperger person, that's what I have to do to navigate this world. I've taught myself that from the moment I was a little kid. You have to, like, because it's hard to read people's expression and faces. You've got to kind of learn certain patterns, and I have no filters. So I've got to tell myself, if I want to keep this job, I better put on some filters, and I better learn, the yes ma'am, no sir type of thing. And that's good that you're good, Becky, so that I could be successful in work. I've usually always worked for myself because of that. But as I get older, I mean, benefits are good, and you got to put some money into the Social Security, so when you fully retire, you get some money. So it's going to be a challenge, but a challenge that I know that I can do, and I'm up for it now. I think as I've gotten older, I've managed to learn certain skills that I didn't have when I was younger, and so I'm thankful for that. It's getting into a different type of routine. I mainly when I make my meals, I put a lot of effort into it, and sometimes it takes a good hour, to prepare and eat and whatever. So I've got to change that up because I'm not going to have the luxury that I had before. I still want to eat healthy because I've got to find ways of making these healthy foods quicker and faster, and more, what's the word I'm looking for, and more, gosh, help me out here, and more feasible, for working. I eventually do probably want to go back to school too, so that's also going to put a strain on my time. And I've had a lot of time, since I've been doing a lot of stuff online and just really making my own schedule. Now I won't have my own schedule. How's tea going? Tea's going well. Today, actually tomorrow will be 1 week. I posted some pictures up on Facebook because I want to put a little progression and see how my body changes. I know that when I was younger, and I started tea back in 2003, my body really took off nicely. But I'm 54 now, so I don't know how that's going to work out for me. But I'm hoping that it does get, it does get better, and I do. I want to. I mean, I'm weighing 123 pounds now. I want to put on at least 145 pounds. That's what I think with my height, that should be a good thing for me. Um, you know, life is not easy for anyone. We don't have manuals to tell us how to navigate or do things, but I think it's a little bit tougher with people with neurological impairment and people that have had a lot of traumas growing up, and these traumas led us to do a lot of different things. 53 going on 29. Thanks, Leslie. What I'm doing again, I've got Leslie on YouTube, and I've got Kingston, Becky, Lewis, my cousin, and Helen on Facebook. So I'm trying to go back and forth. So multitasking. It's something I had to teach myself too, because the neurological impairments, it's kind of hard to do that. It's kind of, we become very focused on one particular task, and it's hard to really, do other things. Primo, ¿cómo estás? Luis Humberto Perdomo is my father's first cousin, so he's my second cousin. And he doesn't speak English that well, so that's why I had to say a little something in Spanish there. But I noticed that he joined. I don't know how he continued to join. Leslie says, you eat well and take care of your body so well. I try to. I really do. I think it's important. I mean, when I was younger, I didn't do that. And I think it was like self destruction. I did drugs, drank a lot, ate like crap. I looked like crap, pardon the French. And it was something that just snapped in me, an epiphany that I decided to take care of myself. And I think also is when I transitioned, I didn't feel dirty anymore. I think as a female bodied person, having been sexually molested, I can honestly say that I felt dirty and I hated kind of myself because of what had happened to me. So as I transitioned, I learned to have a different respect for myself, and that respect came with wanting to take care of myself, and it's very important. Health to me is priceless, and it's something that we definitely have to. Thank you, Becky. Yeah, it's only been a week, and I'm taking very low doses to start off with because it's been almost a year. So I think it's important to gradually add testosterone and not just do it super duper quickly because then your body freaks out. The same thing is when you're going to stop it, you have to gradually bring it down, not just abruptly stop it. And that goes for any medication or any kind of treatment that you're on, so that you don't shock your body tremendously. But yeah, it's really important, to understand self. And I think very few people in the world really do because we've been taught like little robots to believe certain things from the time we were little kids, from the teachers to the priests to our parents who have been programmed by their parents and so forth and so on. So I find that it's extremely important to really tap in and learn to listen to yourself. And in listening to yourself, you can connect to something higher, which many of you call God. I like to call it Source, Universe, the Great I Am. And you can be guided tremendously in the way you live your life by tapping into the Great I Am, and lead your life with intentions, and really love yourself. And I know I say this at the end of every video because very few people really know how to love themselves. They think they do. They try to, and they love themselves with condition. That's why we see this whole, I like to call it an exodus of gender queer transgender individual coming into the stage because people don't feel good enough the way that they are, so they feel they have to change. And it's easier to become somebody else I mean, I know I did it. I know that I find myself um, saying that I've got two spirits in myself, and I literally mean that. I've got a Maritza spirit and a Mark spirit, and it's always been that way from the time I was a kid. I didn't label him Mark back in the day, but it was a male spirit and a female spirit, and I kind of danced with these two spirits throughout my life. So, instead of like wanting to destroy one part of us, we have to learn to make peace with these two spirits, and kind of like a yin and a yang, you kind of do that dance. And once you get that, then you really start to really love yourself and really start to respect yourself and honor both of your energies. And that will only lead to more spiritual growth and more balance and a happier person in the end. Um, I wrote an article today, or one of my blogs, really. And I know a lot of people totally get pissed off at me for saying what I say. And as I mentioned earlier, I have no filters. I say things how I feel them. And it's sad that I have to put filters on at times. Like at work, I'm going to have to learn to do that because not everybody's very understanding, you know, of one's own what's the word, observation of the world of things. And as an Asperger person, I read patterns. I see patterns. I analyze things greatly, and some people don't like it. But some people don't like to be analyzed. Studied or whatever. But it's something that I've done from a very young age. I would just look at people and I would just look at their behavior, and then I kind of already knew how they were going to behave because I studied their patterns. And people are so predictable, extremely predictable. I used to always say that I'm not from here, I'm from Mars, and that really got me into trouble in school, especially because they all started calling me Martian. But people are amazing to me, and patterns to me are very, very amazing. So I wanted to share with you this article that I wrote that I'm sure is going to upset some people um, in the trans community. But, if you can't be truthful with yourself and try to really understand yourself, then what kind of life are you really leading? You're leading a lie. And it's bad enough that everybody else thinks that we are imposters, but if you're truthful and you really open up your heart and your soul to people and explain to them how you feel, kind of like what I'm doing right now. I don't think I've ever been as candid as I am being right now about my Asperger, about my neurological impairment, how I've learned patterns, how I have to literally prepare myself to step out that door and deal with the world. I mean, it's something that most people don't think twice about, but I believe that a lot of us in the trans community, and maybe even in the LGB, have to do this because of the way we were raised. We weren't equipped with the proper tools to deal with what goes on in our world. Let's see, Leslie says, when we feel anxious, we analyze so much more because we want to see the chess move of others before they make a move. Welcome to psychology. Yes, definitely. And I think psychology is an amazing science, although it was never really given the credit in the beginning as if it was wacko. But psychology, I for one love Carl Jung. Carl Jung has such amazing, amazing theories, and he's very spiritual, and I like to intercorrelate spirituality with psychology, and I think they both hold a very interesting spot together. So I'm going to go ahead and read this blog that I wrote today called Patterns. You know, I know that as a trans guy, there are certain things that we look forward while transitioning, like muscles, facial hair, massive pecs, and power. Just something, and I think that because when we were living as females, we had no power. Of course, muscles represent power, you know, beard represents power. We had no power. So we were actually stumped down by either our fathers or those who sexually molested us. So I think that drive for power comes from a lot of these childhood traumas. These are just some of the many things we look forward to accomplishing during our transition. Yes, I know. I don't want to say all trans guys look for this. Because when you say all, everybody freaks out. There are no absolutes in life. But if you peruse your friendly neighborhood Facebook pages, you will find a similarity and patterns involved in transition in both trans sexes, both MTF and FTMs. I know that some of these I strive for and still do. A lot of these, the muscles, the power, it's just something, and it's all tied into traumas, challenges, and things like that. However, I know I'm not and never will be a genetic man. That's something that, I'm not. I hate to use the word delusional, but that's the non-filter version of what I want to say. I know I'm not a guy. I mean, I'm a hybrid. I created this that you see before you. I know I was born a woman. Gosh, I see signs of this every day when I look in the mirror, when I have to sit and pee, when I wipe myself, and I know that I don't have the equipment that a biological male has. I don't deny my birth gender, and I can be open and honest enough about my traumas and challenges. And I think it's important to see. Yes, he founded the Klein Center Therapy. Carl Jung, yes, read a lot about Carl Jung, and I definitely love Carl Jung. Period. Now, having been with cis women from a very young age, I had my first sexual encounter at the age of 13 with our maid. We lived in El Paso, Texas, and women from Mexico would come over and they would work for a very cheap price. And the majority of people during that time, this was back in 1977 or 78, and we had a maid. That she was 18, I was 13, so that was my very first experience. And I've had a lot of relationships and encounters from that moment on. And I believe I was very promiscuous that way because of being sexually molested, because of being raised in a very abusive, alcoholic, trauma-filled, abusive household. I must say, and not blaming my parents, they did the best that they could. All parents do the best that they could, but that was my way of coping. I must say that trans women and cis women are very different. To argue that fact would be heinous. And I'm sorry, there is a difference. And I've been with women since the age of 13, okay, until the age of, gosh, when did I break up with Violet? And I started going out with trans women. So we're looking at a good 40 years, 35 years being with, cis women. For starters, the physical aspect is very evident. And unless they transition at an early age and they were petite, homosexual, transsexual kind, and I don't know if you guys know the difference. There's a homosexual, transsexual kind of, and there's the other kind, and a lot of people get pissed off. Some people call them the autogynephiles, some people call them, the individuals that transitioned later in life and really didn't show any signs at all. They weren't feminine, they weren't, it was just something that happened all of a sudden, and what you want to call it, that's up to you. The secondary characteristics are there and mostly impossible to remove. I mean, it's like me. I can never go back to being female. These secondary characteristics that I've set in with testosterone, is impossible to take away. So, okay, I don't care how much surgery they have done, how much hormones they take. One can always tell that person is biological male. I mean, we could be PC all we want, but those are facts. That's the unfiltered truth. Now, as far as characteristics and personalities go, there is a massive difference and a sort of pattern and drive that is evident in most, if not all. I think it is important to point out these things instead of getting upset and denying it. Embrace these facts. It is who you are. No judgment. It's all good, really. I believe these characteristics of FTMs and MTS stem from hiccups and traumas that we face during childhood and early adulthood. If you dig deep, you will see how much sense it really makes. If it were just about gender, why the obsession with clothing and accessories? I mean, I was looking at YouTube some videos and just same pattern. They're all like, I went shopping today and I bought this lipstick to go with my outfit. And they're all in the Macy's. I mean, it's a pattern. Why the love affair with the mirror? None of the females I was with in the past ever did this. They have this obsession with, let's skip this back here. Why is it that most trans women love to stand in front of a mirror in intimate dressing rooms? Why the obsession with breasts and shopping? Why the love affair with a mirror? None of the females I was with in the past ever did this. Yes, and I know you're doing this for, the reason that you're doing this is the obsession with the creation that you see and feel within. You so desperately are trying to be like a woman. But if you say you are who you are, then why do you have to try? It makes no sense. Either you are or you're not. I'm not trying to be difficult here to judge anyone. These are observations I made seeing since being part of the trans community and dating and marrying one, and now separated. We really don't want to be like ostriches and stick our heads in the ground, do we? We want to talk, be real, communicate. Yeah, I know that's hard sometimes, but my kind loves to we really love to communicate and converse. That is not just about ourselves, but of things of the world, things that really matter. Not about wigs and pedicures and stuff that getting your boob job and what you bought at Macy's and all that stuff. The mirror and obsessing over our appearance is not really our thing. Those who do this, and there are cis women who do this, okay, most do it for the male gaze or their own insecurities and other issues. As far as finding partners is concerned, most trans women do not do well with alpha type men or men who are, well, men like. Unless they are a tranny chaser, the chances are for trans women to find a guy who is manly is very difficult. Most guys that date trans women are closeted trans themselves, cross dressers, curious, or, I don't know, looking to try something different maybe. I must add that trans men do not do well with dominating females. I know I don't. I can freely admit this. Truth is truth. It will set us free. Trans women want a man to be an accessory, not to question them, to yes them to death, and to be their puppet. Hey, it's all good. We are free to do with our lives what we please. We can be who we say we are. Let us go for it. But please don't think that we're fooling anyone, especially those of us who have walked amongst the tribe as long as I have. It is not love they're searching for. Okay? It's validation of their gaze and who they want to be. If it were love, the mirror would not be so appealing, for love is not found in the image you're trying to create. It is found in the hearts of those who one day may have been so lucky to have crossed paths with. I don't mean to be insulting in any way, nor to anyone, but I should be allowed to express my views and thoughts. I wish nothing but the best for all of us in the trans community, but I often wonder, why can't we be honest with ourselves and others? I know it's hard to be who we are. It's definitely not easy. And I know the path is difficult, but it does not have to be. If we choose truth and honesty and let people see your very soul, life will be kinder to you. I promise you that. Oh, how I wish I could have seen your soul. But anyway, that was just something I wrote today, and it's stuff that I feel and observe, and it comes from the heart, and I shouldn't be chastised. I shouldn't be ridiculed for saying what I feel and what I've noticed, and if people really remove the veil from their eyes and they really start to observe certain behavior, and they would actually truly see this, they really would see the same observation. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for saying that it was well written. I mean, English is not my first language, and I struggle sometimes. Um, but that's another one of my, things that I deal with. I came from Cuba when I was 4 years old, and my first language was Spanish. And then, although I think I speak it pretty good and I write it pretty good, I still sometimes I think my brain doesn't write or compute. Grammatically, English and Spanish are so different, extremely different. So that gives me a bit of a challenge sometimes. But I'm used to challenges, and I like to step up and face these challenges. Um, I really do wish that people would be truthful with themselves, and understand why they do what they do. What's the motivation? To turn around and say, like, for me to say, yeah, man, I'm a man. This is why I did this. I mean, people look at that statement and they kind of think I'm crazy when we say that. But if we say, I've always had an inclination to masculine things. I've always felt more comfortable expressing masculine expression. And, I want to lead my life in this masculine expression and do the best that I can to deal with the world in this expression. And, not try to force myself onto people, not try to hide my, what I could call fetishistic behavior. I mean, I take pictures in my underwear and I look in the mirror and it's like this dream of, having been born a guy, having big muscles and just trying to navigate life like that for whatever reason, whether it's the traumas, whether it's a coping skills. But I know why I do it. and I don't try to hide that, you know. And I know not everyone is going to be able to admit this. I know it's hard. I know that it's shameful. But if you accept yourself and you open up your soul and speak truth, and other people will accept you too, and it won't be so shameful because, you know, we weren't given a manual. You tell us how to live. We all make mistakes. There's not one single person out there that doesn't make mistakes. We all do. And we just got to learn to, you know, to face the facts and the truth, and not get angry at one another when somebody wants to speak up. And you might say, well, this is your truth. And yeah, you're right. It's my truth, my observation, my life. And I'm sharing what I've observed and what I see, and how I feel. And I'm being honest about it, you know. And honesty in my book is a very important thing. One of the things that I cannot handle in a relationship is dishonesty. And when you feel that, you know, there's a lot of dishonesty in the way people express things, and it's a put off to me. And little by little, I kind of like revert into my shell. But um, I don't know. Sometimes there's so much that I want to say, but I want to be so ever careful how I say it because I don't want to hurt anybody. You know, really, my intentions are never to hurt. My intentions are always to enlighten and get people to think. You know, but I know that sometimes, you know, I fail at that, and yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to touch base and tell you guys how I felt, read you the article, share a little bit more about myself, and, you know, the struggles that I go through on a daily basis. You know, I don't get social anxiety because I used to, but I taught myself how not to. But, you know, it does take a lot of work for me to be able to navigate and deal and learn the patterns so that I could mimic patterns and I could deal with everyday life. And I think I've done a pretty good job thus far. You know, it's not as difficult as it used to be, but it's still difficult. It takes, you know, it takes some work to actually get stuff done. Let's see here. I've learned so much from you, Mark. You are my first trans friend, and I'm honored we're friends. You have a heart of gold. Thank you, Leslie. I'm honored to be your friend, and I thank you for everything you've done, and really appreciate your friendship and your kind words and understanding. It means a lot to me. It really does. You know, I'm human. You know, I'm human, and I'm misunderstood a lot, but you know, I can't please everybody. I guess. You know, I have to be me. And me sometimes is an awkward me, you know. Like I said, from Mars. That's that's what I was called from the time I was little. You're from Mars because I just couldn't relate to anybody. It was such a lonely world, and it's still a lonely world. You know, it's still a lonely world because I try. You know, I try even with relationships. It's just, gosh, I've had so many failed relationships that it's just, you know, it's heartbreaking. And I just, you know, I don't even know, you know, well, I don't even know what it is, but it's just because I expect a lot, I guess, from people. And, you know, I'm hard ass on myself, so I'm a hard ass on the persons that I'm with. Don't be nervous about tomorrow. Let us know how your day went. We're failing to you. Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, definitely will. I'll make a video tomorrow after I get home from work. I start at 8. I'm hoping I'll be done by 5, you know, but I don't know what the deal is. It's the first day, it's orientation. Um, but yeah, you know, failed relationships are no fun, and but it makes you grow as a person. You know, it really makes you understand things a little bit better. And you know, I think every relationship I've ever had, I've grown and learned more about myself. You know, I think that's what relationships are there for, actually, to help you grow and learn and navigate life. And it's just so hard, you know, to navigate this life as a member of the LGBTQ. And, you know, because we're definitely different. We do things differently. We think differently. We act differently. And we're dealing with a world of hurt, and some of us are very broken. You know, but it's important to understand how broken we are, and not get offended by those words because, you know, awareness is the only way we're going to heal. And I've learned that that's the way that I began my healing throughout life, was becoming aware of my faults. You know? And it's not fun to have your people point fingers at you and tell you all the things that you're doing wrong. But I find that that's great. Point the fingers on me, tell me what's wrong, so that I could fix it, so I could try to make it better, so I could try to adapt. I don't, I'm not the type of person that gets upset if somebody tells me, "Hey, you're doing this wrong." It's like, "Well, thank you," and I'll try my best next time. You know, but not everybody's like that. People get totally offended very easily, and that's sad. That's sad because we're all humans, and like I like to say, "Hi, man, how you doing?" Like I like to say, we're spirits having a human experience. What's up with the audio? You can't hear me? Everybody's Leslie. Yeah, let me see here. The audio should be okay. Um, I don't know. It's fuzzy. Maybe maybe it's the. Let me see here. I mean, it should be okay, but I don't know. These buzzing. Oh, it's probably a computer. The computer makes a noise, and so I've got my Samsung mic right here, and it buzzes. So I apologize for that. I don't know, maybe if I take it away from the computer. Is that better? Okay, maybe that's it. Yeah, because the computer, when it starts to get a little bit overheated, it starts to make a noise. And so, note to self: do not put microphone. I clip the microphone to the computer. Um, it still sounds like electricity. How about now? How does that sound? Because I just changed the setting on the sound. So I got this little guy here. Is that any better? Uh, no. Okay. Some of these things are just, modern technology. What can you say? But a little better, yeah, and not extremely better. What it is, Samsungs don't really correlate too well with a Mac. And when I bought the Samsung, which is supposed to be a pretty decent mic, um, I had a PC. And PC and Samsung mic work great, but Mac and Samsung doesn't work that great. But, that's what I got. And I'm a minimalist, and I am frugal as frugal could be. So for me to buy another one, it would have to break down, and then I got to think about it twice. You know, frugal is my middle name. Blame my mother. She taught me that way. She taught me well. You know, Blue Jedi. What is that? Blue Jedi, Star Wars, right? But, but yeah, I yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's been 33 minutes since I've been talking, but I will make another video tomorrow letting you guys know how my day at work went. And I mean, I'm excited. A lot of great things. New beginning, new job, new life. Um, you know, looking to get in the best shape ever now that I can focus on me. The past 3.5 years, I've focused on another soul, which I do it again in a heartbeat because that's what I do. I love to heal people. I don't want to mention where I'm working. I've had a lot of enemies in the past, and it's just for now. I really don't. It's I will eventually. But for now, my heart is telling me don't say what kind of work it is. Um, it's not an occupational therapy. I let my occupational therapy license go. So I was applying for over 40 different places, some government jobs and different things. I'm grateful. The only job that was offered full time here in this little town, what they do a lot is just a lot of part time work, and part time wasn't going to cut it. I need a full time job to pay my bills and save money for the plants and things that I have. So I'm grateful that the job is full time job and pays decent money for the area that I'm living in. It'll help me pay my bills and pay my car payment and put a little money away so that I could eventually buy a traveling van because my dream. so then I could travel and maybe pursue my music. Once I think I'm going to work for another 10 years and then retire and maybe start doing my music with my traveling band and just travel around and do stuff like that and seminars and crazy things like that. So I'm 54 now, so by the time I'm 65 and I retire, I'll be ready for that. So, and I'll try to stay in shape so that I won't get old and decrepit. I got good genes. My great grandfather died at 113, so if I live to 110, I'm good. But anyway, yeah, I really don't have much more to say. I I thank you all again for your support, your love. You're all my family, and I've been at this since 2006, making videos of all sorts. If you peruse my channel, oh my gosh, there's so many videos, from music videos to crazy rant videos to advocating videos to health videos. And then I started doing the show back in 2012 with Jessica. Oh, Blue Jedi costs around $125 on Amazon. Well, $125 from me right now would go to other things besides a microphone. But, when I pay off certain things, like I'm still paying off furniture that Lynn and I bought when we lived in Fort Lauderdale. And I put it on rooms to go and whatever. I mean, a lot of times it's just like, what's next? So what's next? So we do one thing, didn't think it through, we lost money for this and that. And it's like, and not to down her, God bless her, love her to death, that she's her own person, I'm my own person, I'm frugal, she's not. I think things through before I spend a nickel. I think about it 500 times. She doesn't, but that's who she is. I'm not judging her. I'm not putting her down. It's who she is, and I am who I am. And, but I, I'm very frugal, extremely frugal, and it works for me. It's helped me, you know, live my life, travel and do the things that I want to do, and take time off and extend the time off, living off my savings, because I did save money, and that's how. But I know when it's time to get back to the matrix, there I go. So it's time to, yeah, financial frugal is the best way. I think so, Leslie. I truly do. You know, um, then I hated that about me, but we were raised differently, totally differently. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and make my dinner at 6 o'clock. I got to go to sleep very early tonight. I'll probably be in bed by 9 o'clock. So I have to be up by 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like crazy. 4 o'clock in the morning. My mom was like, "You're going to get up that early so you can go work out?" Crazy. But, I, if you don't make effort to do things, then you're never going to do them. If I find every excuse in the book why I'm too tired to work out, then I won't work out and I won't achieve my goals. And to me, I'm very goal oriented, and it's very important for me to follow my goals and my dreams. Rest well, my friend. We're thinking of you tomorrow. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Nan. And thank you, everyone on Facebook that joined in: Sandra, Gavin, Kimberly, Shelby, Sam, Gavin, and Nicole, Becky, my cousin Louis, and Keith, and Casey, Shane, something like that. Thank you guys so much. I will be making more videos, and you can catch my music video that I made today. Somebody was had a request for me to do something from Phil Collins, and I did. And although my voice is not the greatest, I know that I need to practice more. But and now with testosterone, the voice will get even more raspier, and I plan to do a lot of stuff because, like I said, my long-term goal is to eventually just, with my music, go out there and perform and travel the world. And so I got 10 years to get really good so I could do that. So I could go touch every one of your hearts and meet you guys in person and give you one big hug. 'Cause, some of you I just know from here, and you've been great, absolutely great. And I would love to personally hug you guys and tell you how much I love you in person. And that's a goal of mine. That's a goal of mine. So good night, guys. Be well. Sleep well. I love you. But remember to always